This year, the NHL is adding 2 games to their 82-game schedule, bringing it to 84 games. The NFL has been in talks for many years, bringing it to 18 games from their 17-game schedule. What if I gave the NFL the NHL soon-to-be 84-game season schedule, including the best of 7 in every single playoff round? So just like the NBA video and the MLB video, we will be simulating throughout the whole entire season, going through the playoffs and showing you guys everything to do with that. And graphics will come up on your screen throughout the video as well. We're going to do it a little differently. Just like in the MLB, when you rotate your pitchers, how I rotated the quarterbacks, in NHL, you have to rotate your players. You have to rotate different lines. You have line 1, line 2, and line 3. And I'm going to do it with string 1, string 2, and string 3 for your offense. Well, skill position offense, I should say. So the first stringers, the second stringers, and the third stringers, not including the offensive line, for the offense will play a certain amount of games throughout the 84-game season, which is 28 games each, and then they will go into the playoffs. First stringers will start game 1, second stringers will start game 2, third stringers will start game 3, and so on and so forth, just to finish out the playoffs. We're not going to be stat tracking anybody this time. We're just going to go looking at every single stat and show you guys the top 10 to see which players performed well at their respective positions. And for the first time in one of these videos, I'm splitting up the NFL. It is no longer going to be the AFC and the NFC. It's going to be the NFL Western Conference and the NFL Eastern Conference, just like the NHL does it. And we're going to have 4 total divisions, 2 per conference, but it's going to be a little different than the NHL. We're going to have the North, West, Central, and East. So obviously not the Metropolitan, just the East. In the Western Conference, the North Division will feature the Bears, Bengals, Bills, Browns, Colts, Lions, Packers, Vikings. And in the West Division, in the Western Conference, the 49ers, Broncos, Cardinals, Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, Rams, and Seahawks will all be in the Western Conference. In the Eastern Conference now, the Central Division, the Buccaneers, Cowboys, Dolphins, Falcons, Jaguars, Saints, Texans, Titans. And in the East Division, the Commanders, Eagles, Giants, Jets, Panthers, Patriots, Ravens, Steelers. So again, for the first time, splitting up the NFL, this is what it looks like. This is your graphic on the screen now. Each team has 0 wins and 0 losses to start the season. We will see where every team shapes up. And it's going to be the NHL playoff formatting, where they will have the best 3 teams from each division and then 2 wildcard teams. So the teams with the best record throughout the whole entire conference that didn't make the top 3 in each division will be going in and filling in the last 2 wildcard spots. And don't forget to stick around to the end of the video, like always, to see the awards at the end. And after your first simulation, here are your standings. The Bills are the best team in the whole entire NFL, 15-2. The Bills, 49ers, Cowboys, and Patriots all lead your divisions at the moment. And the worst teams in the league are the Bengals, Cardinals, Dolphins, and Jets. So we see a lot of teams tied with records. The 8-9 records are standing out, and so are the 7-10s. And then obviously the Central Division is a tie between first at 10-7 between the Cowboys and the Falcons. So take a look around your league. This is how it looks. And we will take a look at how the starters did, the first stringers did in their simulation. So for quarterbacks, this was your first line. This is how it looked. Mahomes had the most passing yards in the whole entire NFL. Michael Penix made the top 10. And then your leader in touchdowns was Josh Allen with 49 touchdowns, 44 for Mahomes. Only 5 interceptions for Josh Allen, 6 for Mahomes. Rushing-wise, Bijan Robinson led the way at 1,700 yards. Jonathan Taylor in second, 3 yards ahead of Josh Jacobs, who fell to third. Your rushing touchdowns, though, Joe Mixon and Saquon Barkley had the most there. Receiving-wise, you could guess it, Puka Nacua with the most receiving yards in the NFL, with Jamar Chase in second, Cooper Kupp in third. Receiving touchdown-wise, Puka Nacua, Rashee Rice, and Devontae Smith all had 18 receiving touchdowns, tied at first. And I don't really show defensive stats. We'll show it now. Aiden Hutchinson, the only defensive player to go over 20 sacks at 21. And interception-wise, Trent McDuffie had 8. Carson Schlesinger had 7. Derek Stingley had 6. And here's how your NFL looks after 34 games. The Bills are still the best team in the league at 27-7. The 49ers and Chiefs are now tied for first in the West. In the Central, the Falcons have the lead at 23-11. And the Patriots in the East are 23-11 as well, have a lead over the Ravens. The Giants and Eagles are tied at 20-14 in that division, and the Raiders and Chargers in the West are tied at 19-15. The Bills have a very comfortable lead in the North. The worst teams in the league, the Jets take the cake at 7-27. Dolphins second in the Central. In the West, the Cardinals, and then the Browns in the North. And in the next simulation of games, we'll see what the playoff picture would look like if the NHL finished at the 51 game mark. And here are your leaders in passing. Joe Flacco with almost 5,000 yards, 4,800, almost 4,900 for him. Mitch Trubisky in second. Jameis Winston in third. And I don't know why Michael Penix keeps getting subbed in for a quarterback, but he does. He led the way in touchdowns. Jameis Winston was second. Hendon Hooker led the way in interceptions. So did Jarrett Stidham and Tyrod Taylor were second at 25 interceptions. Rushing wise, David Montgomery led the way, 1,200 yards. Only 4 touchdowns, though. The most touchdowns, which is Samaje Perine. Zamir White was second, and so was Chuba Hubbard, tied at 13. And then Ray Davis had 12. Receiving-wise, Wan'Dale Robinson, 1,500 yards, 24 touchdowns. T. Higgins with 1,400 yards, only 4 touchdowns. And Wan'Dale Robinson broke the NFL record for a 17-game season at 24 touchdowns. Laviska Shenault was second. Ricky Pearsall was third, tied with Mitchell Tinsley and Christian Watson at 12. And then defensively, Max Crosby, the NFL record by a mile, 32.5 sacks. Nick Bonito also broke the NFL record at 28.5, but Max Crosby had a monster season. DJ Turner with 10 interceptions, the only cornerback to go into double digits. Derek Stingley had 8, Eric Stokes had 7, tied with Marlon Humphrey for third. All right, so as it stands right now, the Buffalo Bills are still first at 37-14. The Chiefs are second at 35-16. The Ravens are third at 34-17, and the Falcons are fourth at 32-19. All division leaders there. And your worst team in the league is the Titans at 13-28, followed by the Jets 14-37, the Cardinals 18-33, and then the Browns 21-30. The North Division is very, very hard right now. Very interesting. I mean, it's pretty much anyone's game in the North. The Bills do have a comfortable lead, but anybody could win that division there. In the West Division, it's looking like it's shaping up to be a bloodbath, pretty much spanning from the Broncos all the way to the Chiefs. Don't know if the Rams could come back at this point. It's possible, but again, don't know, and the Cardinals is a lost cause. In the Central, pretty much anybody's game. I don't think that you could say anybody's not in it except for the Titans. And then in the East, it is anybody's game except for the Commanders and Jets, it looks like so far. And then this is what it looks like in the playoff picture. Obviously, the Bills, Packers, and Vikings get the North top 3. The West gets the Chiefs, 49ers, and Seahawks. The Chargers and Raiders are your wild card teams right now. In the Central Division, the Falcons, Buccaneers, and Texans are your top 3. In the East Division, your Ravens, Patriots, and Eagles are your top 3. The Giants and Jaguars are the teams in the wild card spot there. Then we'll take a look at your passing stats. Jake Browning led the way at 4,200 yards. Bailey Zappi was second. And then your touchdown-wise, Bailey Zappi led the way at 34. Jake Browning was second, tied with Sam Howell at 31. Tommy DeVito getting his name in there, former New York Giant. Dylan Gabriel, 38 interceptions on the season. Oh my God. So I just looked at the interception leaders in NFL history, and Dylan Gabriel has now placed his name above Vinny Testaverde for the second most interceptions in a single season. He got very close to breaking George Blonda's record set in 1962 in the Houston Oilers. Unbelievable. Actually unbelievable. The only quarterback in the 21st century to have above 30 interceptions on the season. Jameis Winston also had 30 interceptions in a season, but he did not go above 30. So that's why I said the only quarterback to go above 30 interceptions in the 21st century. And then Trey Lance, unfortunately, his career is just terrible. Was tied with Shane Buechele for second in 28 interceptions. Dude, the defensive interceptions there might be record breakers here. Ramondre Stevenson is apparently the third string running back on the Patriots. Don't know if that's true or not. I don't think it is. But he led the way in the NFL in rushing yards. Second was Woody Marks. Third was Jonathan Brooks. And then Caleb Johnson and Chris Rodriguez Jr. led the way in touchdowns rushing at 12. Receiving-wise, Isaiah Hodgins back on the Giants. That's interesting. He had 1,500 receiving yards. Andre Yoshevach with 1,200. And then Torrey Horton with 1,100 was third. Datavion Hicks with 15 led the way. Tyquan Thornton, Jaden Higgins, and Josh Downs were second at 14. And then defensively, we're going to see some crazy stats, I think. 21 sacks for TJ Watt and Jared Verse. Interception-wise, Drew Tranquill led the way at 9. Byron Murphy with 8. DJ Reed with 8. Roquan Smith with 8. Jair Brown with 8. And Demondre Lenore at 8. Wow, 2 49ers in a row. That's kind of crazy. Was expecting crazier stats defensively after we saw that crazy interception season. I mean, unbelievable. So every single line has now played 17 games. We will simulate the next 11 games for each line and see where everybody stands after that. And through 62 games now, the Buffalo Bills are still the first team in the whole entire NFL at 44-18. The Ravens are second at 41 and 21. The Patriots are third at 40 and 22, although they did not own a division because the Ravens are ahead of them. And then third will be the 49ers and the Eagles tied at 39 and 23. Fourth will be the Falcons at 38 and 24, tied with the Chiefs as well. Worst team in the league is the Jets at 17 and 45. The Titans are second at 18 and 44. Cardinals are 20 and 42, and the Bears are now 27 and 35. The Browns get moved up in the division. The Bears fall down to last. Again, anybody's game for second place in the North at this point. I think the Bills might have that locked down at first, but I don't know. You never know. Anything could happen with the remainder 24 games, 22 games. With the remaining 22 games we have left. The Central Division is a mess, but when you look at the teams that are there, it kind of makes sense. And then honestly, the second half of the East is also horrific. And every team up to the Cardinals in the West is having themselves quite the season. And then here is your playoff picture. The Bills, Packers, and Vikings are the top three in the North. The 49ers, Chiefs, and Chargers are the top three in the West. In the Central, the Falcons are the top three with the Buccaneers and the Jaguars. In the East, the Ravens, Patriots, and Eagles are top three there. And then your wild card teams in the Western Conference is the Seahawks and the Broncos. And then Eastern Conference is the Giants and the Cowboys. So with the starters back in, we'll take a look at the stats through 11 games. Stafford with 3,000 passing yards. Burrow second. Bo Nix third. Justin Herbert fourth. Most touchdowns in the league goes to Matthew Stafford, 32-2 season. Justin Herbert with 29 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Joe Burrow, Bo Nix, and Jared Goff with a three-way tie for third. Most interceptions, Jackson Dart at 12, Phillip Rivers on the Raiders with 11, and Michael Penix, Daniel Jones, Kyler Murray, and J.J. McCarthy all tied at 10 for third place. Rushing-wise, Derrick Henry takes a kick at 915 yards, only through 10 games for him. Quinshon Judkins with the most rushing touchdowns at 11. Christian McCaffrey with 10. Josh Jacobs, Cam Scatterboo, DeAndre Swift tied with third. And then these are your top whatever for rushing stats there. Receiving wise, Puka Nacua yet again, 955 receiving yards. T. Higgins ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown by only 5 yards. And that makes up your top three there. Receiving touchdowns wise, Puka Nacua, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Brandon Ayuk. So that is crazy having 2 receivers in the top 5. But that is a Matthew Stafford season right there. Defensively, the sacks, Nick Bonito leads the way at 18. And the interception-wise, Quinyon Mitchell and Pat Surtain at 4. Now that the second stringers are in, we simulated the next 11 games. That puts us at 73 played throughout the video. The Bills are still first in the league. Ravens are right behind them. The teams that follow are the Patriots, and then the 49ers and the Packers are tied for, I guess, third. And then your worst team in the league is back to the Titans. Jets are second. Cardinals are third. The Bears are fourth. Again, anybody's division in the North, at least from the second seed on in that division. But again, anybody's division in the North. And then honestly, in the Central, it's shaping up to be anybody's division, even as how sad that is. It's still shaping up to be anybody's division. The division leading Atlanta Falcons. The division leading Atlanta Falcons would be the 6th seed in the West if they were in the West. And then it's pretty much the same thing over here for the East. They'd be the 5th seed in the East if they were in the East. Actually, ridiculous how bad the Central is right now. But hey, the Falcons secure themselves a spot. Home field advantage, at least for right now. And here is your playoff picture. Bills, Packers, Vikings take up the North top 3. The 49ers, Seahawks, Chargers take up the West top 3. The Central Division is the Falcons, Buccaneers, and Cowboys top 3. The East is the Ravens, Patriots, and Eagles. Your wild card teams are the Chiefs and Broncos in the West. And then in the East, the Giants and the Jaguars are your wild card teams there. Huge disconnect with the Jaguars at 35 and 38, but that's just kind of the best record throughout the whole entire Eastern Conference for whatever reason. And Jarrett Stidham led the way, 2,700 yards. Next was Mitch Trubisky. Again, Michael Penix keeps breaking the fucking game and getting in as a second stringer. He's not supposed to be there, but he is. Jarrett Stidham, most touchdowns. Mitch Trubisky and Mac Jones second with 20 touchdowns, and the most interceptions goes to Tyrod Taylor at 18, Hendon Hooker at 16, Michael Penix, Andy Dalton at 15. Rushing wise, Chuba Hubbard has it for right now. Once we simulate more games, Trey Benson will probably be above Chuba Hubbard. You never know, though. RJ Harvey in 3rd, Aaron Jones in 4th, Najee Harris in 5th. Rushing touchdown wise, Najee Harris has the cake, 9 touchdowns. Chuba Hubbard 2nd, Trey Benson is 3rd. Ricky Pearsall has the most receiving yards in the league, 901. Josh Palmer is 2nd, Josh Downs is 3rd, Troy Franklin, Jesus, is 4th. And Pearsall has the most receiving touchdowns in the league. Wan'Dale Robinson is 2nd. Josh Downs is third. Defensively, Oladejo has the most sacks in the league. Khalil Mack is second. Josh Hines-Allen is third. Interception-wise, Marshawn Lattimore is tied with first, with Roquan Smith for first. Jordan Battle, Alante Taylor, and J.C. Horn are tied for second. And then there's a long tie for third with a bunch of players here. Devin Bush, Jair Alexander, Roger McCreary, Jalen Watson, Jordan Lewis, Marlon Humphrey, Trey Amos, Nate Hobbs, and Diamadre Lenore. And now we're on our final batch of simulation. We have the next 11 games to go, which is for the third stringers, which will round out our 84 game simulation. And here we are. These are the final standings in the league. 84 games have been played. The Baltimore Ravens are first in the whole entire NFL at 56-28. The Patriots are second at 55-29. The Bills are all the way down to third at 54-30. And they almost lost the division to the Packers. And honestly, impressive seasons from both the North and the West. The Central and the East, however, lacking apart from the top-heavy Easts. So I don't know. That's kind of just how I'm looking at it. Your worst team in the league was the New York Jets. Second worst was the Titans. And then it was the in the same division, the Steelers and the Saints. Then the Dolphins and the Commanders. You know, like, they had the worst teams, but also had the highest win ratio teams with the Ravens and the Patriots. So interesting stat line there. And then here is your playoffs. Your playoffs are set. The Bills will be playing the Seahawks. The Packers will be playing the Vikings. The Chargers will be playing the Broncos. And the 49ers will be playing the Chiefs. The Falcons will be playing the Giants. The Buccaneers will be playing the Jaguars. And the Ravens will be playing the Cowboys. And finally, the Patriots will be playing the Eagles. And here are your stats. Russell Wilson leads the way. Most yards in the league. Bailey Zappi second. Jake Browning third. Jeff Driscoll fourth. Most passing touchdowns in the league was Bailey Zappi. Jeff Driscoll second. Russell Wilson third, tied with Tommy DeVito with 18. And then Sam Ellinger with 25 interceptions. Jake Browning with 25 interceptions. And that's only 11 games in. Imagine if we kept simming. Jeff Driscoll with 21 at third. Rushing wise, Jonathan Brooks, 800. Ramondre Stevenson, 742. Devin Singletary, 711. Makes up your top three. Zamir White, the only running back over 10 touchdowns with 11. Ramondre Stevenson at 8. Devin Neal, Jaden Blue, Michael Carter, and Braylon Allen all tied for third with 7 touchdowns. Receiving wise, Mitchell Tinsley led the way. Darius Slayton was second. Ricky Pearsall was third. Luke McCaffrey was fourth. Receiving touchdown-wise, Tyquan Thornton, the only one to have 10 receiving touchdowns. And then a three-way tie. Darius Cooper, Ty Felton, and Trent Sherfield Sr. had 9 for second. Mitchell Tinsley and Datavion Wicks had 8 to tie for third. Defensively, Micah Parsons had the most sacks in the league. Jonathan Grenard was tied for second with Andrew Van Ginkel, his teammate, Bradley Chubb, and Adafe Owe, 13.5. Jalen Johnson, Jaquan Brisker, his teammate, Quincy Williams, Trayvon Wallace, and L'Jarius Sneed all tied for first in interceptions with 6. Then a long tie for 5. And then 4 as well with a very long tie there. Those are all your players that make up the league. And in the wild card round, the Bills will win 4-1, beating the Seattle Seahawks and moving on to the next round of the playoffs. Same thing goes for the Packers as they win 4-1 against the Vikings and will play the Bills in the playoffs as the NHL does not reseed, which I also found out the NBA and the MLB also doesn't. I did not know that. I apologize for my previous videos. The Broncos will beat the Chargers 4-2 and move on to play whoever wins in the Chiefs 49ers series, which will be the Chiefs winning 4-0 and moving on to play the Broncos. The Giants get the win over the Falcons 4-1 in the series, the second wildcard team victory we've seen, where the Broncos were the first. The Buccaneers will move on to play the Giants as the Buccaneers win 4-1 in their series. And then we'll move on to the next batch of games in the wild card. We'll round out with the East. The Ravens sweep the Cowboys 4-0 and move on to play the winner of the Patriots-Eagles. Series tied at 3, game on the line, 4th down and 7. May throwing has a completion and a first down to the 49. 48 seconds left for this Patriots team. First down and 10 from midfield. First down and 10 from the 49 now. May takes a snap, dropping back to throw it. Got nowhere to go. He's going to get sacked. Nakobe Dean on the sack. 42 seconds of counting. Second down and 18. The Patriots have to go a long way if they want to tie this game and bring it to OT. 14 seconds to go. 4th down and 18. From the 41. May takes a snap. Throwing quickly. Has a completion. Antonio Gibson on the completion all the way down the field. No one has touched him. And that is it. The Patriots are a PAT away from tying the game at 31, which they will do here and bring the game into overtime. In overtime, second down and goal from the 8 for the Philadelphia Eagles. 10 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock. Hurts, play action. He's going to scramble forward, a QB draw, and he has got it in for the touchdown, the game-leading touchdown, maybe the go-ahead touchdown here in overtime. 4th down and 4 for the game. Drake May takes a snap, stepping up, throwing it deep down the field. Only needed 4 yards. He wants it all, and it's going to be incomplete. Demario Douglas cannot hang on through the contact, and that is your season for the Patriots. The Philadelphia Eagles move on and will play the Baltimore Ravens in the next round of the playoffs. And the Bills get the win over the Packers. They will win their series 4-2. The Broncos will surprisingly sweep the Patriots 4-0 here and move on to play the Bills. And our next playoff matchup is set, Bills-Broncos. The Buccaneers will beat the Giants in a 7-game series to move on to the next round of the playoffs to play either the Ravens or the Eagles. And unfortunately for you guys, it was just blowout after blowout, so there was no point in me showing the games, which sucks, honestly. And the Ravens will win the series 4-2 and move on to play the Buccaneers. Same thing again, blowout after blowout, no point in showing the games. Unfortunately, I would love to show you guys the games, but they just have not been that good throughout the simulation so far. And in overtime, the Broncos will take a game-winning kick here in Game 7 to move on to the Stanley Cup Finals, which solidifies our first team in the Stanley Cup Finals here, playing either the Ravens or the Buccaneers, whoever wins that series. The Broncos are waiting on who they will play. The winner of the Ravens-Buccaneers series, whichever team wins that, will play the Broncos, which will decide which team gets home field advantage for the Stanley Cup. And another boring series as the Ravens will win 4-1 and move on to play the Broncos in the Stanley Cup. Here in Game 1, the Broncos will win 24-17 and take a 1-0 lead in the series. And I wish I was lying to you guys when I said this. 15-minute quarters still put up this score. The Ravens win 7-0 to tie the series at 1. 4th down and 3 for the Ravens. And they're not calling a timeout. The clock is ticking. It's bleeding down. The season, I mean, you just got to tie it up here. You just got to kick a field goal. It's 4th down and 3 from the 33. I mean, I guess they're going to let it bleed down to the 2-second mark or the 3-second mark, whatever it may be, 4-second, whatever. But whatever the game expires at, which is honestly a smarter move than what I would have done. And just call a timeout any second here. And the Ravens lose because EA sucks. Unbelievable. The Ravens will lose. The Broncos have a 2-1 series lead. Unreal. Sam Ehlinger gets the win for the Broncos. I mean, what even just happened? 15-minute quarters. Starters are in. The Broncos win 13-6. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens could not get a touchdown today. So here we are, 3-1 series lead. The kick is up. And the kick is good. The Denver Broncos have won the Stanley Cup. And here is your celebration, everybody. That is it. And with the Denver Broncos winning the Stanley Cup and becoming the champions, we will look at the rest of the awards here. Your Conn Smythe Award winner, which is the playoff MVP, is going to be Jarrett Stidham, carrying the Broncos to victories in most of the games that he played. And your regular season awards, we're only going to do 4 for today's video. The Calder Memorial Trophy, the Rookie of the Year, is going to go to Jackson Dart. I think, again, there's not going to be really much of a shock there. Jackson Dart deserved it, and he got it there for the season. The James Norris Memorial Trophy, the best defenseman, is going to go to Nick Bonito. He actually had more sacks than Max Crosby on the season, even though Crosby had that insane 32.5 sack season in the 17-game stretch. But Nick Bonito became the best defenseman of the season. Your Vezina Trophy, the best goaltender. Goaltenders in this video are technically going to be the quarterbacks. So the best goaltender is going to go to Matthew Stafford. Best interception ratio to touchdown ratio that I have seen in a simulation so far. Through only 28 games, but still he had the best touchdown interception ratio by a mile. And then your Hart Memorial, the MVP is going to go to Wan'Dale Robinson. He had himself quite the seasons, plural. He did have a season where he had 24 receiving touchdowns, which was the NFL record in a 17-game stretch. And he wasn't even the starting wide receiver in that season. So the fact that he was a wide receiver 2 and a wide receiver 1 throughout this video, he played the most amount of games, 39 games throughout this whole entire video, and he put up the best stats through those 39 games. faster paced video than I've been doing to see if you guys like this more. I don't know how you guys will enjoy it. The playoffs went a lot faster than they have. So maybe you guys did enjoy it. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment down below what I should do next, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.